We're gonna move on to college football because it's college football rivalry. You see what I'm wearing. You see what Trey's wearing. It is rivalry week. So, what is your favorite college football rivalry moment?
November 30th, 2024. That was the day we beat the shit out of Michigan and we went on to win the national championship. Oh, wait a minute. This show's not the future. Sorry. I'm a little
That day
ahead of
hasn't
myself.
happened yet.
Don't worry. It's coming.
That's not a moment.
Trey's psychic.
Zeke already told me. Zeke.
Who the hell is that?
That's little Zeke.
It's Zeke.
That looks nothing like Zeke.
Yes, it does.
That looks like
No, because they don't have the half.
like-
You can't see his stomach.
Yo, that looks like me right now, and you left me out on the
Yeah, it's like melted jam.
on the deck of a cruise ship, but I never came inside. I just roasted like a potato all weekend.
And you gained a little weight.
Well, I was eating.
What you're not going to do is come for Baby Zeke there. Baby Zeke says it was then. But no, all seriousness, for me, though. Okay, so, of course, it was Ohio State, Michigan, but it was what was called the game of the century. It was back in 2006, November 2006. Ohio State was number one. Michigan was number two. Realistically, who knows we'll ever see that again? I mean, what's the chance to get a rivalry and both teams are the number 1 and 2 team in the country? So the game, this is the one time that the game actually got moved to 3:30. To be honest with you, I'd be fine to play it at night. I know a lot of people are like, we have to play it at noon. For what?
Tradition.
Why can't you move stuff? Yeah, because it's tradition. Fuck all that. I like that they played at 3:30 that time. I wouldn't mind if they moved it again. Anyways, it was trash. So it was Lloyd Carr. We had 2 legendary coaches, so that was fun. Ohio State ends up winning 42-39. It seals Troy Smith's Heisman Trophy campaign, so that was a great moment, especially for me being somebody in Cleveland. I love that team because there were so many Cleveland dudes on there. You had Anthony Gonzalez. He was from Cleveland. You had Ted Ginn. You had Troy Smith. You had Hartline was from Canton, best receiver coach of football now. He was on the team at the time. So we had a lot of guys, even from Northeast Ohio, which I can appreciate. So I always liked that team a lot. From Michigan, on the other side, which was interesting, you had Prescott Burgess, you had Manningham. They went to Warren Hardin, which was also in Ohio, which they were actually rivals with some of those guys that played some of them in the playoffs back when they were in high school. And I actually went to a couple of those games. So it was crazy to watch these rivalries get extended out to college. You had Mike Hart, Chad Henne. I know Mike Hart's one of John's favorite Michigan people. So it was a lot of star-studded affair, and it was a fun game. As a side note, I remember specifically being at that game. It was 3:30. I was at a bar. I was supposed to be at a bar as a teenager, but I was like a bar and grill wing spot. And the bar, it was so many drinks going because it was a high-scoring game and all these games were happening that the bar by the third quarter ran out of fucking Hennessy. It was crazy. They were literally out of Hennessy. And my teenage self was like sneaking Hennessy shots. The old heads were like, come on, young blood, take this Hennessy shot. That was a good touchdown the Buckeyes just made. I'm just sneaking shots and shit like that. So for me, that was a fun experience, not just because it was a good game, but because I had a good moment. I'm sure John on the other end has some terrible Michigan moment that he would like to talk about when they beat Michigan State.
Yes, we had 7 years between winning against Ohio State. It was 3 years ago. November, I forget the date, but it was 2021. It started snowing. It was the first time in a very long time that Michigan had beaten Ohio State. It was the first time Jim Harbaugh had beaten Ohio State, and what a euphoric game. I mean, I was pacing the entire time. Even though Michigan had a few touchdown lead, it still was like, Ohio State still can come back. I've seen this before. It's going to come back. And in 2016, where, you guys did not get the first down, but they call it the first down, which is bullshit. And we should have won that game. At the end of the day, that was a euphoric moment where it was like, yes, finally. And then went on to the college football playoff and watched them in person get absolutely shellacked by the future champions of the Georgia Bulldogs. But that was just such a great moment because it set the program up for the future and moving forward for the next 3 years to absolutely say, okay, we got Ohio State done. We got the Big Ten championship. Now it's time to win an actual championship here because as Trey and I always allude, yes, the rivalry is huge to us, but winning a ring at the end of the year is even bigger for us. So that was my biggest moment in football over the last maybe 10, 15 years. I do remember that 3:30 game, by the way, too. And it was,
there's an irony there. And I thought about it. You said it. So y'all got your ass kicked by Georgia right after that.
Yeah, badly.
Yeah, the irony of my moment is we didn't went to get our ass kicked by Florida. So both of these moments were great, followed by getting our ass kicked
By SEC teams.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is by SEC rivals too.
Yeah,
Big
that's true. They are right.
big rivals. So
Yeah, that was.
so
Quick
I've
question for you all. And this is for everybody. Okay, so clearly, and call me wrong if I think I'm wrong. If y'all think I'm wrong here, Ohio State, Michigan are the best rivalry in college football.
Mhm.
Most people would say probably what Alabama, Auburn is number 2. You would probably say. What do y'all think? If not, what do y'all think is? If not, then who do y'all think is the number 2? Or I was gonna say the number 3 rivalry, since we pretty much probably all agreed that it's Ohio State, Michigan as the
I
top
just think
rivalry.
Texas, Oklahoma was a top 3 rivalry.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say Auburn, Alabama, just because of the games over the last maybe 25 years. You go back, Auburn always steps up, no matter what. If they're bad, which they have been, they always play Alabama right to the wire. This game is gonna go right to the wire. Last year was one like a holy shit catch, and in the corner in the end zone. Alabama should have lost that game. Should never even been in contention for the national title last year, but. Auburn and Alabama always play each other tough, no matter what the record is. Obviously, Alabama's had that, the number over the last few years. But I can't say any other rivalries had like, oh my God, games. I mean, even Ohio State, Michigan, we hype it up. The media hypes it up and everything. But the games haven't really been that close. They haven't been really that. It's always been one side or the other over the last 10 years. I know people are going to shit on me for that, but it's true. 2016 was the last time the game actually went down to the freaking wire. If you remember, it went to overtime. So it's kind of been lopsided. The media hypes it up. Everybody hypes it up because they're two top teams. And rightfully
last
so.
year was close, though.
What?
Remember, last year was close. I mean,
it was close until the second half, and then it just.
Remember, Kyle McCord threw an interception. We were driving to actually try to win the game. Kyle McCord threw an interception in the fourth quarter late.
But you guys were down 2 touchdowns at that point, right?
No, when we down to score, I'm pretty sure we were down to score at that point.
I thought you were down 10 or 14 at that point.
No, at one point we were down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right, y'all go away. We got to talk.
This is important. We're not talking about Florida.
All right, you guys step in.
Kentucky or
John's back and he bullies everyone out of the way. Yep.
That actually, Trey, thank you for that question. That actually transitions well into mine because speaking of Auburn and Alabama and going wire to the wire, unfortunately for me, Notre Dame has rivalries, but not necessarily like highly contested rivalries that you would consider like maybe even top 10 in college football. So I had to go outside of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and of course the one that sticks in every college football fan's memory. It's 2013. It's the Iron Bowl. It's the kick six. Chris Davis taking a failed field goal all the way back to shock Alabama and beat them. That always stands out in my mind because watching it on TV, because obviously, like outside, Notre Dame's game's done, all that. I think we beat USC at that point. And I'm just watching this game, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. Because I see the field goal go up, and from the angle they show it first, it looks like he made it. So it's like, oh, geez, okay, Alabama won another game. Great. We got to deal with more Alabama talk. And then it's like, well, why is Davis running? Why is he still running? He's still running. Did they miss? And then all of a sudden you notice there's
Trey and I remember that clear as day. We were together on that game.
Right.
Because I remember I was going to the kitchen and he was just like, bro. I was like,
Right.
What? I thought the game was over.
Well, what's crazy is that all of a sudden as a fan, when they do the angle from behind Davis as he's running, you start noticing that there's no Alabama players in front of him. And there's nothing but like the rest of Auburn in front of him, including possibly some of the bench, it looked like. But yeah, that's just the amazing, like, highest of highs for Alabama. Like, you think it's on a line that they won, and all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, Auburn storming the field, and
Auburn's gonna win the football game.
Thank you. That's the line. Yes. So that, as far as like rivalry games, is just an insane moment that I'll always remember.
I don't know how you didn't do the. I know you guys lost the game on it, but the Reggie push, the Notre Dame, USC.
That's what I thought you were about to say.
That's why the question is favorite, and no, that's never going to be my.
That was a great game. That was a
great game.
And they deserve, and USC deserved to lose that game, and y'all let them back again. Let them back in. You guys have a history of doing that.
Well, you also had to try to grow the damn grass to slow people down. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
They can't control
See,
it.
I
They
haven't
have
seen
a
shit like that
schedule
with
every
the
2
damn
weeks. They're
cameraman
moving
in
along.
Michigan.
Exactly.
Mikey.
We're too busy going to church. Jay, what do you got?
Well, guys, it's kind of strange what I remember the most there, and it was on the non-winning side in the Kentucky-Florida rivalry, because I remember being in the swamp 2014, early September. The winning streak is at about 27, 28, and I'm in my Kentucky gear, and all I'm hearing from Florida fans are, "Who the hell is this idiot here?" So they're just all through the whole game, just heckling my ass until they realized, holy shit, the streak might come to an end tonight. Somehow Kentucky hangs around, send the game to overtime. The game goes to double overtime, where Kentucky has a golden opportunity to take the game, and somehow quarterback misses wide open receiver in back of the end zone. Plays, pass incomplete. They got to kick a field goal. Goes to triple overtime. They don't score. Florida scores a tutty. Florida wins the game. But the memory for me was seeing the fear of God in these stupid Gator fans' eyes as Kentucky proved that they can be on the field and compete on the field with these Gators. 4 years later in Gainesville, the inevitable happens. Kentucky wins 27-16, and then we go on our little 4-game win streak after that. But funny enough, my memory is just the energy of how that stadium shifted, and it got really quiet in overtime. Meanwhile, I'm the only fan that's going off the rocker there. Me and like 3 Kentucky fans probably got about 17 people threatening to beat my ass up after the game, because everybody was convinced they were going to lose the game. Like, people are walking out. I'm like, what the hell are you walking out for? It's overtime.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine, because you're loud as fuck now next to me. I can't imagine being next to you in a stadium right there. If I was with you, I'd leave. I'd be like, dude, I'll beat you in the car. Like, I can't do this right now.
My buddy,
I can't. I'm gonna have to switch seats in a second, because
I had a buddy of mine who was like jumping on the bandwagon with me, and Ron's sitting there like, I can't fucking believe this is about to happen. So it was a great time.